Okay, for anyone who is back already, well done for being back already. We of course had another unexplained outage there. My apologies, and we are going to have to wait a minute for everyone to rejoin before we can get back to the music round. So do bear with me. What can I tell you? It's been difficult. So thanks for rejoining, those of you who have. The next couple of minutes are really going to be punctuated by me saying things like thanks for rejoining, those of you who have, because I'm sure that not everyone will have got their stream going again yet. And we really have to wait for them before we start the music round. My apologies for the difficult day on the technical side. That is just the way it goes sometimes. Can't be helped, except if we would stop fiddling. But if we stopped fiddling, it wouldn't be the Quizcazoatl Publess Pub Quiz now, would it? So bear with me. We are going to be coming back shortly. If any of your friends are having trouble joining, just tell them to go right back to the entry link, so back to the Quizcazoatl, which is to say really Chris Malin's YouTube page, and look for the clip with live on. In the past we have had people get tricked into looking at the repeat of what they've just seen, which I wouldn't recommend because it was a difficult time for all of us. So if any of your teams are having trouble rejoining, just tell them to go back, click on the little circle that says Quizcazoatl Publess Pub Quiz, go back to the landing page and rejoin the stream that way. I see at the moment Google tells me we have 3 people watching, so well done guys, you are without a doubt the most on it of the group. We had better wait for a couple more to rejoin. I'm being told that there's no sound again. That would be a disappointment to me. There ought to be some sound. If you can hear this, do please let me know. If you can't hear this, then don't bother letting me know, because you won't have heard that question. I see that we do have 8 people online now. That is some sort of progress. Okay, there we are. We have confirmation that at least someone somewhere can hear something. And that is all I've ever really asked for. Alright, well, we are again ruinously late, so I am going to give you the first playthrough of the music round. For those of you who are listening, we are going to have songs from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the noughties, and the beloved 10s. You have to try and identify the name of the song and the name of the performing artist. That could be a group, it could be an individual. 6 songs, 2 pieces of information. That means there are going to be 12 points available for this round. While that is happening, I am also going to send out the marking links. I am getting mixed feedback on the sound quality. Several people can hear me, At least one person says I sound like I'm in a cave. So there's that. I can't necessarily fix the cave problem because I have had to abandon my primary audio equipment because of the audio problems earlier. So we are just hacking along with what we had to hand. However, hopefully you can hear me. I will of course be flashing the questions up on screen if I'm a bit difficult to hear. And we are going for the second time, hoping it doesn't collapse again, to the music.
There's dancing behind movie scenes, behind the movie scene. Sadirani.
Superstar, where you from? How's it going? I know you got a clue what you're doing. You can play brand new to all the other chicks out here, but I know what you are, baby. Look at you, getting more than just a re-up. Baby, you got all the puppets with the strings up, faking like a good one, but I call them like I see them. I know what you are, baby.
I belong with you, you belong with me, my sweetheart. I belong with you, you belong with me, my sweetheart. Love, we need it now. Let's hold for some. So we're bleeding now. I belong with you, you belong with me.
Well, think about those for a minute and then I will play them again, or if you've only just managed to rejoin, for the first time, for which I apologise. A minute and a half and then we're going to play them again. Also, God willing, and if anything is working today, the marking link should have gone out. So if you are a designated marker at some point before we finish playing the music round, why don't you check out your marking link and we might mark round one after the next play. Okay, I see we are back to 23 viewers, which seems a reasonable number. And I am going to play you that music one more time.
There's dancing behind movie scenes, behind the movie scene. Sadirani.
Superstar, where you from? How's it going? I know you got a clue what you're doing. You can play brand new to all the other chicks out here, but I know what you are, baby. Look at you, getting more than just a re-up. Baby, you got all the puppets with the strings up, faking like a good one, but I call them like I see them. I know what you are, baby.
I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. Love, we need it now. Let's hold for some. So we're bleeding now. I belong with you, you belong with me.
Okay, that was the songs. They were pretty solid songs. Let's take a moment while you just... In fact, I'll give you 30 seconds to discuss, and then we're going to come back to the spot prize. Okay, I see that at least one team has had trouble hearing those songs. So I am in a moment going to go to an unprecedented third play of the music round with the standard apologia for how difficult it's all been today and how late I'm going to keep you. We will move pretty quickly through round two, so if you want to look at those round two pictures while you've got a moment, that might stand you in good stead. Before I go to it though, I can announce provisionally a winner of the round 1 spot prize. So the number of births every day globally is, according to the answer I have here, something of the order of 372,960. That's less than 50 million. Someone who really likes babies was feeling a bit optimistic, but it's only just a little higher than the 333,000 that Rachel gets. So Rachel, unless anyone comes shouting telling me that I missed their answer, you are the spot prize 1 winner and will be in for a shot at the limited edition t-shirt. While you are celebrating that victory, here is the music one more time.
There's dancing behind movie scenes, behind the movie scene. Sadirani.
Superstar, where you from? How's it going? I know you got a clue what you're doing. You can play brand new to all the other chicks out here, but I know what you are, baby. Look at you, getting more than just a re-up. Baby, you got all the puppets with the strings up, faking like a good one, but I call them like I see them. I know what you are, baby.
I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. Love, we need it now. Let's hold, focus on. So, we're bleeding now. I belong with you, you belong with me.
Okay, that was the music again. There's still some some question about how well my sound is coming through. So there you go. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? I do appear to have flashed something up in front of my face a minute ago. So it goes. But as the music round closes, whoever it is who is assigned to answer, get those written down. And I am going to come way later than I ought to be to the round 1 answers. So hopefully you have gone to your marking sheets on the links that I sent out to the email. If people haven't had marking sheets yet, let me know. Oh, I need to activate the answers, don't I? Right, bear with me a second. I'm going to activate the answers. And then we are going to be hot to trot in just another 1 minute once that has all filtered through. Okay, so I have at least one person tell me they haven't got an answer sheet. So it looks like nobody got the answer sheets. Of course they didn't. Why would that have worked when everything else has broken? Let's try sending that again. Okay, I am sending those marking links again. Hopefully they will come through. Well, given as we have a lag, hopefully they may have come through even by the time you hear me saying this. If they don't come through at all, then I am afraid we're going to have to resort to mark your own. I have got confirmation that Jane downstairs has managed to have the wrong email address typed in. If we can't manage it in our own house, what chance have we got anywhere else? So while I send Jane her marking sheet, hopefully everyone else who managed to type their email address correctly will already be there. Okay, it looks like they have been coming along. If you still don't have one, it may mean that, like Jane, you spelt your email address wrong. Or, to be fair, whomsoever it was who was in charge of typing in. In this case, someone put a .com instead of a .co.uk. Elementary error. Elementary error. So let us, without further ado, he said, as he does, see whether that's going to come up and whether we can get on to the answers. Oh my goodness, round 2 is going to be an absolute, well, we're going to move quickly. That's all I can tell you. There's nothing else to say about it. Needless to say, my Adobe Acrobat has now stopped working. So I just need to wait for a moment to get the answers back up in front of me. See, maybe I can look at the questions and just start answering them from my own considerable knowledge. No, that doesn't work either. If anyone wants to donate a couple of grand for me to get a computer capable of running the Quizcazoatl Published Pub Quiz. All right, here we go. Let's move through these quickly. So eyes down, look in. 1 point per answer. This is not a quiz about spelling or ordering. So if you think something is in the wrong order or spelt wrong, be generous and give the points anyway. So question 1, we asked, what type of crab famously makes its home in empty seashells? The answer, it's a hermit crab, and it is not really a crab. We then asked, how many knuckles are there on a human hand? The answer is 14. There is 1 less on the thumb. 14 knuckles on the human hand. Question 3, and we had a 7-pointer with 7 people. We were asking for 7 people or characters, all of whom have titles. We had first Lady Gaga, then Missy Elliott. We then moved on to Mrs. Brown, went to Professor Green, famous murderer from the Cluedo universe. Then Dr. Dre. He wants you, but probably not to run his quiz, because he knows better. It's Lord Kitchener. And finally, a man about town, it's Mr. Messi. So 7 points available for Mrs. Brown, Professor Green, Dr. Dre, Lord Kitchener, Mr. Messi. In the children's rhyme, what did the old lady who swallowed a fly swallow immediately after the fly? It was a spider. She had a system, but it did not work out for her. But question 4, a spider. We asked, how many counties does Devon border? The answer is 3. Cornwall, Somerset, and down at the bottom, also Dorset. Cornwall, Somerset, and Dorset. For question 6, we went to the pictures again, and we had 3 missing items from the Venn diagrams. First, we had homonyms of numbers and synonyms of 8, and it was 8. Then we had, for number 2, quaver. That's a musical note length and a crisp. Finally, we had continental. That's things that can come before drift and tyre brands. Oh, you are... Okay. I don't know, that might have recovered. Let's see, if anyone can hear this, please tell me whether I am back. My apologies. Tell me whether I am back and tell me what the last answer you heard was. I'm back. Okay, can someone give me the last answer? Well, all right, let's just go back to, so hopefully you heard question 5, 3 counties that Devon borders. Then for question 6, picture 2, we had, the answers were 8, quaver, and continental. Question 7, we were asking if steel or iron is galvanized, that means it is coated with a protective layer of which chemical element? The answer to that is zinc. The zinc corrodes before the iron does. Zinc for question 7. For question 8, we asked in physical geography, where would you find an ablation zone? And that is, up until climate change really kicks in, on a glacier or an ice sheet. So for 8, we'll accept glacier or ice sheet. Question 9 brought us to pictures of young people. Can you imagine that? First we had Mariah Carey, then we had Jamie Foxx, then we had Keanu Reeves, and then Frodo lookalike Elijah Wood. That's Mariah Carey, Jamie Foxx, Keanu Reeves and Elijah Wood for 4 points. Question 10, and we asked what Myanmar was called until 1989. The answer there is Burma. What was Myanmar called until 1989? Burma. What was the score after 90 minutes in the 1966 FIFA World Cup final? 2-2. 2-2 at 90 minutes. Question 12. We were asked to name 6 films, all of which have a boy's name as the full title. They were Bruno, Paul, Ted, Arthur, Ray, and finally, it wasn't Jerry Adams, it was Logan. That is 6 points available for Bruno, Paul, Ted, Arthur, Ray, and Logan. We then asked what the minimum age was to become President of the United States of America. The answer is 35. Less well known, that's also the minimum IQ to be the President of the United States of America. So 35 for question 13. Question 14, we had 2 predictive texts for 2 more types of oil. They were coconut and motor. Coconut and motor, 2 points. What does a spelunker explore? It's caves. They go down into the caves for 1 point, question 15. Question 16, we asked what were the 3 full titles of the Millennium Trilogy by Stieg Larsson. They start The Girl, and they are With the Dragon Tattoo, Who Played with Fire, and Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. That's With the Dragon Tattoo, Who Played with Fire, and Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. For question 17, we asked for some brands. We had 5 logos, and they were Bic, Canterbury, Rover, Carrefour, and Xerox. 5 points available for Bic, Canterbury, Rover, Carrefour, and Xerox. Which king, slightly assisted by his army, defeated the French at the Battle of Agincourt? It was Henry V. Henry V was King of England when we won, I say we, when they won the Battle of Agincourt. Question 19, we were looking for 3 people, all born in the same year, and what the year was. We had Bryan Cranston of Breaking Bad fame, Gina Davis, and long-distance runner Sebastian Coe. They were born in 1956. You will get the point for anything from 1954 to 1958. 4 points available for question 19. Finally, in round 1 for question 20, we asked, what material forms the outermost blah. That's what Timmy Mallet used to say. Blah. What material forms the outermost layer of the visible part of a human tooth? The answer there is enamel. There are a maximum of 46 points available there. The total will add itself up of its own accord. It's like magic. And without further ado, we are going to keep those open. We're going to come back to them for the music round in not too long. And I'm also going to get us started on round 2 of the quiz. If I can get my round 2 questions up. And I am asking for question 1 of round 2. Where are we? It's an anagram. Everybody loves an anagram. And the anagram is Vindaloo and Rice. Vindaloo-ANDRICE. Vindaloo and Rice. And the answer to that anagram is going to be a famous man. And you can put that on the side, because I am going to have to push us hard on this second round. And I'm also going to ask you question 2. And we're asking, what S is the key ingredient of lava bread? It's probably too hot to touch, but what S is the key ingredient of lava bread? Okay, and for question 3 of round 2, we are back to the pictures, and we are asking picture 8. Oh, is that going to move on? There we are. We are asking you to fill in these road signs based only on the initials. Fill in these road signs based only on the initial. Alright, and I am hoping that you are a little ahead on the picture round, so I'm going to come straight to question 4, and I'm going to ask, what is calculated by multiplying mass by velocity? It's not how likely you are to get injured playing rugby, although it's a clue, but what is calculated by multiplying mass by velocity? That's a physics question, isn't that exciting? Okay, and we'll move on as well to question 5, and then we'll think about going to the music round answers. So for question 5, in which city did Henry Ford establish a car factory in 1899? He famously said, you can have any colour you like as long as you're a goth. But in which city did Henry Ford establish a car factory in 1899? Okay, and question 6 takes us back to the picture round, and we are looking for some euro coins, national sides. You thought Brexit meant Brexit and you could just ignore the rest of the world, didn't you? Well, you're wrong. You've got to talk about currency. So, name the country of origin for each of these euro coins. Now, with luck, you have got the music round answers have popped up on your marking sheets in front of you. Even Jane downstairs, who got the link on the wrong form of communication and still hasn't marked hers. Goodness me. So, for our first song, it's a classic. It was Bob Dylan with Subterranean Homesick Blues. It's 1 point for each, the artist Bob Dylan, and the title Subterranean Homesick Blues. For the 70s song from 71, we had a real banger after the Beatles. George Harrison as a solo artist did My Sweet Lord. My Sweet Lord, George Harrison, 2 points available. On into the 80s, and R.E.M. was singing about The One I Love. That's The One I Love by R.E.M. for 2 points. On into the 90s, and Corner Shop were singing about a brimful of Asher. If you had the wherewithal to note that it was the Norman Cook remix, well done to you. That is super useful knowledge, but you do not get a bonus point for it, I'm afraid. Corner Shop is fine, and it's a brimful of Asher. Moving into the 2000s, and we have a song by Britney Spears that I, for one, have not heard before. But that was Womanizer by Britney Spears. I had no idea she was a womanizer. Imagine that. 2 points available. Finally, into the 10s, and we are looking for the Lumineers, shedding a little light on the answer to that one, with Ho Hey. Ho Hey is the title, the Lumineers are the artist. 12 points available in total on the music round. And once you have had time to finish marking those, I will give us a bit of an update on the positions after a couple more questions. Before I do, I'm also going to take us on to question 7, because as I say, we've got to push ahead. And we're asking, in science, the 3 main types of chemical bonds are ionic, metallic, and what? Beginning with a C. There are 3 types of chemical bonds. They're ionic and metallic, and what's the third one that begins with a C? Okay, question 8 brings us to our next audio round, and this is Mystery Voices. We're going to hear 3 clips of people who talked. But can you name the people? You might find it useful to listen to the way they speak, and you might find it useful to listen to the things they say. I'll play that once, and then, just because I'm nice, I will play it again.
Number 1.
And I didn't quit.
No,
but I did
no,
say,
you're still there.
should I stay or what? You know,
Yeah.
and they said, well, go on. And actually, it was really, really fun with Sandy. You know, the main difference between her and Stephen is the furniture all had to be adjusted because there's about a 4-foot height difference.
Number 2.
I didn't have anything to go back to, so I guess I went back to a very black few months doing silly things. And I was drinking a lot, and my management at the time kind of stepped in and thought they were being the good guys by just strong-arming me into a rehabilitation centre.
Number 3.
Although I do remember once I was very jet-lagged in London, and so I was up at 4 in the morning and I turned on the tube, and one of the in-house channels there had Officer and a Gentleman, and I hadn't seen it in maybe 8 years or 10 years, whatever. I said, this is really good. So this movie is good. We did a good job with this one.
Okay, they were some voices. I'll give you 30 seconds to discuss, then I'm going to play them one more time.
Number 1.
And I didn't quit.
No,
but I did
no,
say,
you're still there.
should I stay or what? You know,
Yeah.
and they said, well, go on. And actually, it was really, really fun with Sandy. You know, the main difference between her and Stephen is the furniture all had to be adjusted because there's about a 4-foot height difference.
Number 2.
I didn't have anything to go back to, so I guess I went back to a very black few months doing silly things. And I was drinking a lot, and my management at the time kind of stepped in and thought they were being the good guys by just strong-arming me into a rehabilitation centre.
Number 3.
Although I do remember once I was very jet-lagged in London, and so I was up at 4 in the morning and I turned on the tube, and one of the in-house channels there had Officer and a Gentleman, and I hadn't seen it in maybe 8 years or 10 years, whatever. I said, this is really good. So this movie is good. We did a good job with this one.
Okay, well, I hope you work them out. We will also move on to ask, in which month is the vernal equinox in the northern hemisphere? In which month does the vernal equinox occur in the northern hemisphere? And then we will also move on to the next of the picture questions. Question 10, where the pictures intersect the rest of life. We have, what have we got? Of course it's stopped. There we are. Oh no. Back one. There we are. We got the odd ones out. Can you work out which of these things do not belong on the list given? I also noticed that the points don't seem to have been cleared from the marking sheets from last round. Do please keep on writing over those. Apologies for that. That isn't going to have made anything any less confusing for anyone. And we will also move along with question, where are we? Question 11. So question 11. In which ballet is the dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy? And there's a bonus point if you can tell us who wrote the score. In which ballet is the dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy? And on the subject of the marks being left over from last week, I know someone was saying that their sheet was being marked by someone else. It's possible that those were just remnants that were supposed to have been deleted. So maybe have a quick check whether that sheet looks like it was marked correctly. If not, it might need redoing. Okay, and this also brings us to our second spot prize question. Remember, the winner of this will be up against Rachel with a chance to win a limited edition, not available in the shops, Quizcazoatl quiz t-shirt. Oh, there you go, look how smart it is. Jane and I spent a lot of time, when probably we should have been getting the audio working, doing that instead. Imagine that. Anyway, our spot prize question for round 2. The 2019 Indy 500 was won in a time of 2 hours, 50 minutes and 39 seconds. That's a motor race, isn't it, the Indy 500? But if the 2019 race was won in just under 3 hours, what was the equivalent time for the winner of the inaugural race in 1911? We all remember it well. What was the equivalent time for the winner of the inaugural race in 1911? As before, send me an answer at quizcazoatl@gmail.com, through the Facebook page, or on any other messaging system you think will get my attention. And in another half dozen questions, I will reveal how you all did in hours, minutes and seconds. What was the time to win the inaugural Indy 500 race? And I can give you a little bit of an update on the scores, assuming that these are this week's and not last week's scores. The World Health Organization are looking solid, but not quite at the front of the pack, on 51 after 2 rounds. The Orcs, and sounds a bit hippie to me, are doing exceedingly well. They are out there with 54. Panic at the Tesco, previous overperformers are down with the World Health Organisation on 51. Meet the Parents are at 51. The Fellowship of the Ring are doing pretty solidly on 53. The Wuhan Clan a little behind on 41. The Footlims running a potentially reduced team from what I heard on 49. The Lockdown Haircuts at 52. And the Kings, due to a technical error, you haven't been marked, so I will chase up on that for you. And we will also move on to our next real question. Pass the spot prize if I can get us moving on. And the next question is question 12. That takes us to picture 11. We are going to be looking at some wives of presidents, no husbands of presidents, which is a disappointment to me. But give the 6 US presidents based on their wives in picture 11. Okay, let's also plough ahead to question 13, and we're asking you to name the 5 host cities of the Summer Olympics that begin with the letter M. That's when spelt in English. What are the 5 host cities of the Summer Olympics that begin with the letter M? Let's keep pushing through and go to question 14 now. Well, that's exciting, isn't it? We are already onto the songs from the musicals. So, can you name the musicals from which these 3 songs are drawn? Can you name the musicals from which these 3 songs are drawn?
Number 1. Number 2.
Before the day I met you, life was so unkind, but your love was the key to my peace of mind. 'Cause you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman.
Number 3.
Times ago are still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough. Never be enough for me. Never, 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 never,
Okay, well, they were a bunch of pumping, clapping, musical, this, that, and the other in. What am I saying? I'm saying that we're sad that we can't go to musicals because of lockdown. We want to go. We want to go to Mamma Mia again. A bit, not even a bit. Anyway, I'll give you 30 seconds to confer, and then we will hear those one more time. Okay, here we go.
Number 1.
Big girls don't cry. Big girls don't cry. Big girls don't cry. They don't cry.
Number 2.
Before the day I met you, life was so unkind, but your love was the key to my peace of mind. 'Cause you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman.
Number 3.
Towns of gold are still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough. Never be enough for me. Never, never, never for me. For me, never enough.
Okay, well, I hope you have worked all of those out, and that takes us through to question 15. We are going to do our best to finish at sort of ish. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge because, as you can see there, my screen has gone black when I'm trying to put up the next question because it's just one of those days. As Limp Bizkit would have you believe, it's all about the he said, she said. Okie dokie, right, that's a little bit better, is it? No, too simple, too obvious. There we go. And after all that, it's a picture question I should have known. Picture 15 takes us to, question 15 takes us to picture 12, where we are asking you to name bands from 6 cryptic clues that are displayed. Oh, come on. FNAR? No? There we go. Finally. Alright, and because hopefully you'll have been looking at those ahead of the curve and have them already, I'm also going to take us through to question 16. And this is a question about language. So the 2 official languages of Pakistan are English and which other language? The official languages of Pakistan are English and which other language? And let us also shuffle along, not off the mortal coil, it hasn't been that bad. It's been close, but not quite. Shuffle along to question 17, which is yet another picture, which I do not have ready to go yet. So we're going to ask you, we have some missing vowels. Can you name the 5 genres or types of film in picture 13, evading the fact that some of the vowels are missing? And whoever was marking Team 7, their music round answers came in a little late. I did miss that, so I'm afraid they won't have filled in. They have filled in now, so if you can remember what those songs were, if you could take a moment to mark them, that'd be great, or else I will catch it up in a minute. And let's also go on to question 18. And we're asking for question 18. In art, for what term is the dictionary definition? A picture on 3 panels, typically hinged together vertically. In art, for what term is the dictionary definition? A picture on 3 panels, typically hinged together vertically. Alright, let's push through to question 19, penultimate question of the round. And that's, oh, it's back to the pictures again. How exciting, which I also don't have. I'm afraid you're going to have to take them from the picture sheet. I have got too much stuff messing up to get those last 2 pictures up. But we are asking you to give the words represented by the 4 red letters in picture 14. There are 4 red letters in picture 14. What are the words that those letters represent? Okay, and bringing this round 2 to a rapid close, question 20. On what continent would you find the active volcano Mount Erebus? For anyone else reliving their inner geek during lockdown and who has read the Horus Heresy novels, you'll know that he started a galactic civil war in only 30,000 years' time. But back when he was still a mountain, on what continent would you find the active volcano Mount Erebus? That is the last question of round 2. We've moved through fairly quickly. I have probably been ignoring some requests on the thread. It's been one of those days. I see we've had a question 13 request. I also see that very strange things were happening in answers number 1, but I don't know what to do. I can tell you about that. Anyway, so question 13. Name the 5 host cities of the Summer Olympics that begin with the letter M. The 5 host cities of the Summer Olympics that begin with the letter M. So this is bringing us into the end of the quiz. I'm going to give you a few minutes to get those questions together before we head to a rapid wipeout round. The timer will hopefully pop up to show that you have 4 minutes to finish your round 2 answers and to make any more requests for questions. I see that the countdown hasn't, in fact, popped up because, you know, one of those days, why would the countdown work? Nothing else seems to work. So just take it on me. We have a couple of minutes left to get your round 2 questions in. See, and now it's popped up way too late and it's lying to you. Okay, there's the 1 minute warning. Okay, well that takes us to the end of round 2 and we are going to push straight to the wipeout round because, as you well know, it is too late for us still to be continuing. So I'm afraid this is going to be a rapid fire wipeout. It'll be the same for everyone, but a less fair on people who take longer to confer, I'm afraid. But that's what it's going to be. Now, the wipeout round in the Quizcazoatl Publess Pub Quiz is a special round. We give, but we also take away. There are going to be 6 questions in the wipeout round, and the wipeout round only. Let's, I almost forgot the most important thing about the wipeout round. There you are. Wipeout round. In the wipeout round and the wipeout round only, we will have the last letter of each question is the first letter of the following, or the last letter of the answer to each question is the first letter of the answer to the next question. So if question 1 ends with a Z, then question 2's answer will start with a Z. Capiche? There's also a little extra jeopardy in the wipeout round. In the rest of the quiz, if you get something wrong, I judge you. I spend the rest of the week going through all the answers and looking at what you wrote, and my God, do I judge you. But other than that, you're okay. You don't lose any points. But in the wipeout round, if you get a question wrong, you lose all of the points from the round. You go to 0. Imagine that. However, if you get all 6 questions right, you get 2 bonus points. So there's a temptation to push harder. Anyway, honestly, don't guess. It's not worth it. But that's the wipeout round. We've got to get down to it. There's no point faffing around at this point. So, without further ado, wipeout question 1, which obviously, if I was a better person, I'd have queued up already. Wipeout question 1. The alternative name, Flavian Amphitheatre, is most closely associated with which iconic building? The alternative name, the Flavian Amphitheatre, is most closely associated with which iconic building? And a bonus, just well done from me, to the first person who pings me to say where the Flavian bit comes from. The alternative name, Flavian Amphitheatre, is most closely associated with what iconic building? Wipeout question 2. What's the 2-word English name for the narrow stretch of water that separates Anglesey from mainland Wales? Anglesey is somewhere that you could go if you needed to test your eyesight, perhaps, or on holiday. But what's the 2-word English name for the narrow stretch of water that separates Anglesey from mainland Wales? Okay, wipeout question 3. The action in which novel starts at the Admiral Benbow Inn? The action in which novel starts at the Admiral Benbow Inn? Okay, wipeout question 4. They're also known as mosquito hawks. Sounds scary, don't they? But what's the more common English nickname for the crane fly? They're also known as mosquito hawks. But what is the more common English nickname for the crane fly? Okay. Wipeout question 5. What alternative term for a witness summons derives from the Latin meaning under penalty? What alternative term for a witness summons derives from the Latin that means under penalty? And the final question of today's, let's be honest, a little bit difficult quiz on every level, because intellectually difficult, I've stretched your patience, and I assure you it has been difficult at my end as well. Imagine that. So Wipeout question 6. Which unit of length is roughly the distance from the Earth to the Sun? It's about 93 million miles. What unit of distance is roughly the distance from the Earth to the Sun? About 93 million miles. So I am going to give you another 4-minute countdown to get those Wipeout answers in. After that, we are going to see whether we can get the winner of the spot prize question up. And that countdown isn't nearly long enough, is it? So the second spot prize question, the answer was... I had it a minute ago. The answer to how long was the 1911 Indy 500. It was about 6 hours. And the winner on that one... Where are we? It was so even longer, 6 hours, 42 minutes. So, in fact, let me just confirm whether I have that right, because I'd forgotten how long it was. I'll get back to you in a minute. We're going to see whether we can get Rachel and the winner of the second spot prize up while the marking comes in to fill in some of the time. That'll be good, won't it? In the meantime, 4 minutes to get those Wipeout answers finished. And I am able to confirm that the winner of the spot prize for round 2 was our very own Jane Robertson, designer of the t-shirt. Wouldn't it be fitting if she designed a t-shirt and then got a t-shirt that she designed? It's anticlimactic, isn't it? Anyway, it's the Battle of the Cousins in a little bit if we can get Rachel and Jane online for the next tiebreaker question. In the meantime, finish up your wipeout answers, after which we are going to be coming back to mark round 2. Given the lag in the system, once the timer comes down to 0, I am going to play you a song, during which hopefully everything will sort of filter through, and then we are going to mark round 2. Then we'll get Rachel and Jane on the line for the tiebreaker while those answers filter through, and then I will announce the winners. I am very sorry that we are running too late. As you all know, it's because I am too incompetent to set this thing up properly. So there you go. Okay, if you're wondering where I've gone, it's not that I've forgotten to play you some Mousetrap. See you soon!
Eddie waited till he finished high school. He went to Hollywood, got a tattoo. He met a girl out there with a tattoo too. The future was wide open. They'd moved into a place they both could afford. He found a nightclub he could work at the door. She had a guitar and she taught him some chords. The sky was the limit. Into the great wide open, under them skies of blue. Out in the great wide open, a rebel without Papers said it always played from the heart. He got an agent and a roadie named Bart. They made a record and it went in the charts. The sky was the limit. His leather jacket had chains that would jingle. They both met movie stars, partied and mingled. Their A&R man said, I don't hear a single. The future was wide open. Into the great wide open, under them skies of blue. Out in the great wide open, a rebel without a clue. Into the great wide open, under them skies of blue. Into the great wide open, a rebel without a clue.
Okay, everyone. That is about the end of the wipeout round, and time to go to the answering. If anything here worked, which of course it doesn't. So bear with me a couple of seconds while I get my answers up, and of course while I push through the answers so as you can mark them, which is an important part of the process. See, you would have thought I would have got this all done while that song was playing, but I cannot overstate how slow this computer is being today. Yeah, sorry. It's going to be another minute or two before my gears stop whirring. Do please talk amongst yourselves. We will be back with the answers to round 2 just as soon as everything kicks back into life. Okay, everyone, do not be concerned. I have not abandoned you. I am, however, having the typically well-timed computer disaster. At least I haven't lost the thread. I am starting another computer to see whether we can get this thing moving forwards. I am just doing what I can, guys. That's all I can do. Okay, there we are. It could be worse. Right, I am just starting to get there. Alrighty then, so those marking sheets should finally be populating, and oh, for Christ's sake. And I've been hit by Adobe licensing because it's one of those days, so I'm going to answer that, open that even on the second computer. It's all about the he said, she said, anyway. Alright, well, with my apologies for yet another delay on a very late running quiz, let's go to the answers to round 2. So, round 2, question 1, we asked an anagram. Vindaloo and rice, a famous man, was Leonardo da Vinci. We asked what S was the key ingredient of lava bread. That was seaweed. Question 2 is seaweed. For question 3 of round 2, we asked for the missing text from 3 road signs. We had patrol, zone ends, and give way to oncoming vehicles. 3 points available for patrol, zone ends, and give way to oncoming vehicles. For anyone who wasn't concentrating when I came back in, Leonardo da Vinci for question 1, seaweed for question 2. Question 4, we asked what is calculated when you multiply mass by velocity, and that is momentum. Mass times velocity equals momentum. Question 5, where did Henry Ford establish a car factory in 1899? It's the Motor City itself, Detroit. Detroit for a point. 4 countries from 4 coins for picture 9, Portugal, Ireland, Estonia, and Malta. That's Portugal, Ireland, Estonia, and Malta. For question 6 we had some chemistry, for question 7 we had some chemistry, and I asked you to name a type of chemical bond beginning with a C. And that's the covalent bond. Do you remember that from your GCSEs? Well, if you didn't remember it earlier, hopefully you remember it now. We then had 3 voices. First off, we had Jonathan Creek himself, it's Alan Davis. Then the lost and lamented Amy Winehouse. And finally, Richard Gere. 3 points for Alan Davis, Amy Winehouse, and Richard Gere. We asked what month the vernal equinox falls in the northern hemisphere for question 9, and that is March. March for question 9. For question 10, we had 4 odd ones out from the picture. They were Will Young, Carlyle, the letter J, and Clement Attlee. Will Young, Carlyle, the letter J, and Clement Attlee. The dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy is in the Nutcracker Ballet. Sounds painful, it's the Nutcracker Ballet. Apparently I was meant to offer a bonus mark, but I forgot. So if anyone managed to write Tchaikovsky, there is a bonus mark for Tchaikovsky. I don't remember saying that, but maybe that was written down. Anyway, bonus mark if anyone just psychically intuited that they should write Tchaikovsky as well. Question 12 took us to picture 11, and I asked who are the 6 US presidents based on their wives as pictured in picture 11. They were George W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, John F. Kennedy, Franklin D. Roosevelt, my personal favourite of the Roosevelt presidents, George Washington, and Bill Clinton. That's 6 presidents, George W. Bush. If they've put just George Bush, that's half a point. There were 2 of them, and he is at most 50% of those 2. So half a point if you've just put George Bush. George Bush Jr., George W. Bush, W., George Bush, the really stupid one, any of that gets the full point. Anyway, what was I saying? George Bush, Ronald Reagan, John F. Kennedy, Franklin D. Roosevelt, George Washington, and Bill Clinton. 6 points available. For question 13, we asked you to name the 5 host cities of the Summer Olympics that began in English with the letter M. They were, in order, Melbourne, Mexico City, Munich, Montreal, and Moscow. Of course, the order is not important here. So take a moment and check. Have you got Melbourne, Mexico City, Munich, Montreal, and Moscow? Question 14, and it took us to songs from the musicals. Could you name the 3 musicals from the songs? The musicals were Jersey Boys, Beautiful, and The Greatest Showman. That was 3 points for Jersey Boys, Beautiful, and The Greatest Showman. Question 15 took us to picture 12, and we were after bands or artists from Cryptic Clues. We had Bucks Fizz. Apparently we will also accept Mimosa. Then we had Perry Como. They wish we could stay even longer, but we won't. It's Shakespeare's Sister for the 3rd. Number 4, Chuck Berry. Number 5, Mika. And number 6, Stand and Deliver for Adamant. Those 6 artists were Bucks Fizz or Mimosa, also acceptable, Perry Como, Shakespeare's Sister, Chuck Berry, Mika, and Adamant. The 2 official languages of Pakistan for question 16 were English and Urdu. Question 16 is Urdu. We were after 5 genres or types of film for question 17, and we had martial arts, art house, superhero, very popular in the decade just gone, film noir, and melodrama. That's 5 points for martial arts, art house, superhero, film noir, and melodrama. What is the dictionary, or what is the term for which the dictionary definition is a picture on 3 panels, typically hinged together vertically? That is a triptych. A triptych for question 18. For question 19, we were asked for the words represented by the 4 red letters. They were united, as in the United Parcel Service, domestic, as in gross domestic product, disclosure, as in disclosure and barring service. I have no idea either. And we had Corps, as in the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. That's United, Domestic, Disclosure, and Corps. 4 points available. Well done if you got all 4. That seemed tricky to me. And finally, question 20, we asked where you would find the active volcano Mount Erebus. That is on the continent of Antarctica. Antarctica for question 20. That all brings us in, and with apologies if you've sent me any messages on the comment thread that I've ignored, I have not been able to read those because I am having a terrible time technologically, even by the standards of the day. So I'm just going to plough ahead, assuming all is well, to the Wipeout round. If there's an answer that you missed, do let me know, and I will try to repeat that before all is done. We asked what the Flavian Amphitheatre is more widely known as, and that is the Colosseum, named after Vespasian's dynasty, the Flavian dynasty. Very interesting if you like Roman history. The two-word English name for the narrow stretch of water between Anglesey and mainland Wales is the Menai Strait. That is, for anyone who was wondering, M-E-N-A-I, but if it looks a bit like Menai, we will accept that. It's not a spelling quiz. Wipeout question 3, we asked which novel starts in the Admiral Benbow Inn. The answer there is Treasure Island. If you've put Muppets Treasure Island, and that's technically wrong because that isn't a novel, but well played, give them Muppets Treasure Island, it would please me. Ask what the mojito? The mojito hawk is a whole different thing. Ask what a mosquito hawk is more commonly known as. It's the daddy longlegs. Your friend and mine, the daddy longlegs. Wipeout 5. What's the alternative term for a witness summons, deriving from the Latin that means under penalty? And that is the subpoena. Apparently there's it can also be spelled, I mean goodness knows whether you spelled it right for subpoena, but one spelling is S-U-B-P-O-E-N-A. Apparently S-U-P-E-N-N-A is also a correct spelling, but if it looks anything like subpoena, and ideally has S at the start and A at the end, that's a point. And the final one for the Wipeout round, which unit of length is roughly the distance from the Earth to the Sun, which is about 93 million miles? That is the astronomical unit. My machine is so over-responsive, I'm not sure whether that all got through. Hopefully it did. I am going to give us another 4-minute break, because it takes a little while for those marks to pass through so as I can repeat them. If I can, I am going to have the tiebreaker with the War of the Cousins from the Spot prizes. That's a little 50-50 the way things are at the minute. Either way, after 4 or 5 minutes, I'm going to come back and give you the final scores. And just once again, an enormous thank you, those of you who have managed to stay with us through this rather challenging Quizcazoatl Publess Pub Quiz. Okay, team, it is absolutely impossible, I'm afraid, that I'm going to get that tiebreaker up on screen. So do bear with me. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes more for the answers to come through to my summary section, and while I answer one of the sheets that hasn't been done, then we will announce the winners from today. We will return to the Battle of the Cousins at the beginning of next week, something to look forward to. Okay, I have one more sheet that I need to fill in. I am really sorry about this sort of long, quiet period. It's just, you know, it's just difficult at this end at the moment. Nothing is working as it should. I see there's also been a variety of alternative answers suggested. If it affects the outcome when I come to review it, I will see about amending the answers if you really had one that would have fit. Anyway, bear with me. I'm just marking one more sheet that didn't get marked, and then we are going to be hot to trot and we will know how everybody did. Okay, guys, that is the last team marked. And I am, hopefully, if this has all passed through, able to announce the results. Well, the first thing I can announce is that it's not just Jane and Rachel who are going to be facing off at the start of next week. We have a tie for first place. We can also, hopefully, and with apologies, it's been a difficult week, and if your points total seems way out of whack with what you expected, it's probably because there's been a snafu in the system. I will try and just oil the wheels and see whether we can finally have a smooth one next week. We feel like we had a smooth one a couple of weeks ago. Today has been phenomenally difficult. But anyway, it's been an exciting time. We've shared an experience. I do see, oh, for God's sakes, I have two sets of orcs. There is literally always something, isn't there? How have I got two sets of orcs? Alright. I'm genuinely not sure why I have two orcs, but On 69 points, we have the Wuhan Clan. New team name, at least. Not sure whether they're a new team. A solid effort, but room to improve. Trailing the pack a little bit. In 9th, ahead of them, we have the Kings. Very respectable. 76.5. Got caught out by the 2 George Bushes. We then had on 96 points, Meet the Parents. In another battle of cousins, if you will, we have the Footlins and Orcs level at 100 points. Last week's winners, the World Health Organization, trailing sadly only 102 points. And by the way, anything over 100 is just an absolute winning score in my book. Well played, everyone who has managed to get that many points. It's a jolly solid achievement. Anyway, ahead of the World Health Organization, in joint third, we have the Lockdown Haircuts and the Furlough-ship of the Ring, which means that they are regular competitors. They've both won in the past, I think. The top spot is shared this week between Panic at the Tesco and Sounds a Bit Hippie to Me. We will invite those guys in for a tiebreak at the start of next week, as we will with the Spot Prize winners. It's just enormously too late. I will do my darndest to get it finished earlier next time. It's been difficult, frankly, but we made it. Well played, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Well done, Panic at the Tesco. Well done, Sounds a Bit Hippie to Me. Well done, everyone else who played, who scored, and who kept going this far. I will see you all, which is to say that you will see my avatar, same time next week if you're not sick of the process. And stay safe, stay alert, probably stay indoors mostly. Don't